Hey everyone, Joe here. This video is my artist review of the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, the phone with pen support, and it's really windy out here today. So this video is going to focus on the ergonomics as well as the user experience of using this phone for drawing and for taking notes. And I need to find a spot to sit down because it's not very safe to hold the phone and vlog on the skateboard. It is really windy out here today. I hope the mic, this mic here can filter out the wind noise because I'm not recording with the mic on the phone, even though I'm recording with the phone. First of all, a disclaimer, these are review units on loan from Samsung Singapore. So I have the S24, S24 Plus and S24 Ultra. And out of the three phones, only the Ultra model has pen support, and the pen is very conveniently stored in the phone itself. So let's talk about the design and ergonomics. So obviously the 6.2-inch S24 is going to be smaller, more compact. The battery capacity is also lower, but the battery life is still fantastic. It can last easily for 1 day. So let's compare the size of these two phones. So the display for this is 6.2 inches and the display for this is 6.7 inches, if I remember correctly. Now this is more comfortable to use with one hand, and I can stretch my thumb over to the other edge very easily. Whereas for the Plus phone, it can be quite a stretch for my thumb to the other edge. So for this bigger phone and the Ultra model, these phones are, in my opinion, meant to be used with two hands. Because if you use it with one hand, it's not that comfortable. As for the size differences between the Plus versus the Ultra, they are quite similar, just that the Ultra is slightly taller. And you can see the display, it's rectangular, there are no curved edges. The main difference or the main selling point of the Ultra is really the pen support. Now if you do not need the pen, I would recommend you go with the S24 or S24 Plus instead because they are more affordable. The Ultra is more expensive because of the pen support. In terms of weight, this is 167 grams, 196 grams and 232 grams. So these two phones are on the heavier side. The weight for this is still quite manageable, but this is definitely way more portable. Now one issue I have with the big phones is if you put them in your tight pocket, for me, it's very difficult for me to sit down comfortably and also to tie shoelaces. So if I need to tie shoelaces or sit down, I will always take the phone out of my pocket. So that's the main issue when it comes to ergonomics of larger phones. You have to use them with two hands and you have to take them out of your tight pocket when you need to sit down. The next thing I want to talk about is the anti-reflective coating on the phones. So on the S24 Ultra, the anti-reflective coating is quite effective, as you can see. Even though I'm reflecting the sky, the clouds, the reflections on the S24 Ultra are not as glaring. And when you are reflecting things that don't emit light, for example, your face, it can be quite difficult to see any reflection. So the anti-reflective coating on the S24 Ultra is definitely a selling point for me. Another physical difference between the Ultra versus the non-Ultra phones are the Ultra model has one additional lens. So all three phones will have the ultra wide and telephoto lens, the one with 3 times zoom. The Ultra model will have the extra 5 times zoom. The 5 times telephoto lens is certainly nice to have, but I don't feel like I will be missing out if I don't have that lens. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is some parallel line pattern going down the display, and that's due to the OLED display and also the camera settings. So this is an OLED display, which is to say that there will be pulse wave modulation. Now some people can see it, but some people cannot. I personally cannot see PWM in the real world, but when recording with certain camera settings, you may be able to see that. So now you can see there is no longer any pulse wave modulation. So it's really very convenient to have this pen stored in the phone itself, because this means the pen will always be with you. There is no way you can forget to bring the pen. Now the downside to this pen is the size. This pen is quite small and quite thin, which is why it can fit in the phone. In terms of comfort, I would say this pen is still quite comfortable to hold. However, if I need to draw or write for long periods of time, I would prefer to have a thicker pen. And you can use other pens as well, because this pen uses Wacom EMR. So you can use pens from other companies that also use Wacom EMR. And this pen has one side button, which may be customizable depending on the app you use. And this thing behind is the spring to remove the pen from the phone. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the pen tip is actually rubberized, so when you tap on the phone, it's not going to make those sharp tapping sound. And this pen tip is replaceable. You can buy other pen tips to replace it if you need to. Because the pen uses Wacom EMR technology, the pen performance is good. The pen performance is consistent and predictable, and the pen performance is similar to the S Pens that are included with the Samsung Galaxy tablets. The best note-taking and drawing apps to use on this phone are the ones with minimal user interface, so that you can get the maximum amount of canvas space to work with. So this app is Infinite Painter, and I want to show you some line tests. So let me just try and draw some thin lines. It is not easy to draw the thin lines because the phone is moving. Now, if this phone is on a stable, non-moving surface, you will be able to draw thin lines consistently. But when the phone is moving, it's not as easy. So you will have to take some time to get used to how to draw on a moving surface. So let me just draw thicker lines now. This is how thick the line is. And this is pressure working together with tilt. So if you tilt the pen, you can get either broad strokes or textured strokes depending on the brush you are using. And this brush is the Cos Inker brush, which is a very lovely brush for this app. There is going to be some latency. All phones and tablets will have latency even if the refresh rate is 120 Hz, such as the case here. So when you draw fast, if you're looking for latency, you will still see latency. But when I'm drawing, I don't usually notice the latency. You can draw dots as well. So the pen performance is really good. It's predictable and it's consistent. My favorite apps for drawing on Android phones and tablets are Concepts and Infinite Painter. And for phones, I prefer to use Concepts because of the minimalist user interface. So for this app, I can show just the tool wheel. If I want to, I can also show the layers palette. Now right now I'm holding the phone vertically because it's just more comfortable to hold the phone vertically when drawing. And also note that when drawing, there will be two moving parts. The phone will be moving because you're holding it with your hand, and your other hand will be moving as well. So it's going to take some time to get used to drawing with two moving parts compared to drawing on your phone or tablet, which is on a table on a non-moving surface. So these are some sketches that I have drawn on the train. Let me just remove the layers palette. Okay, so this was actually drawn on the train while I was commuting on the train. And I'm quite used to drawing on phones, so I can actually draw the straight lines rather easily without the lines being too wobbly due to the moving train, the moving phone, and the moving hand. Now, it is possible to hold the phone horizontally, but you have to find your preferred way of holding the phone. You can hold it like this, or you can hold it like this, which is still not too bad, or you can hold it like this, which is also a good way to hold the phone. By the way, right now the screen brightness is at 100%, so even though I'm outdoors and it's really bright, this display is so bright that you can still see really good contrast. So you can use this under direct sunlight if you want to, but you're probably going to get sunburned. So it's still best to draw or take your notes under the shade. By the way, the display is almost completely flat. This small area here is still curved slightly, so that's really great for drawing. When you're drawing near the edge, your pen is not going to roll off the curved edge because the curved edge is now so small. The display is laminated, so there is no gap between the line and the pen tip. So when you are drawing, the line is going to appear directly beneath the pen tip. So this allows you to draw more accurately. And this is palm rejection working really well, very effectively. I usually use tilt to color, so I can hold the pen more vertically to draw the thin lines, and I can tilt the pen now to color bigger areas, and now to color the tighter or smaller corners or areas, I will just hold the pen more vertically. Taking notes or drawing without any support for your drawing or writing hand can be quite challenging. So generally speaking, when you're writing or drawing, it's always more comfortable to rest your hand on the display or on the table. But when using the phone, there is just no place to rest your hand. I mean, you can hold the phone horizontally like this, you can rest your hand this way, but it's going to block off half the display. So for me, I still prefer to hold the phone vertically because it's easier for me to grip the phone, and it's safer this way, so that when writing or drawing, the phone doesn't, fall out of my hand. So for taking notes, I would say the note-taking experience is excellent because the pen performance is good. So for taking notes, the experience is going to be great. And this is a good size for taking notes. Depending on how big or how small you write, obviously you will be able to see more or less of your notes. And there are many note-taking apps out there available on from the Google Play Store, so I don't really want to talk about those apps because there are so many. We have a pen that can be stored in the phone so that the pen can be with you at all times is really convenient. More specifically, this allows you to create spontaneously. So for example, if you are waiting for the train, waiting for a bus, waiting for your friend, and you see something interesting and you want to write or draw something, you can do so with this phone because there is pen support, and there aren't many phones out there with pen support. Let's say I want to draw that flower. All I have to do is take out the phone, which is in my pocket, pull out the pen, open the app, and I can start drawing. Okay, in this case, I'm going to draw really quickly. So this is the lotus. Let me undo. All the finger gestures work very, I would say, predictably, consistently. And pressure works really well, so I can have the petals at the back drawn with lighter pressure, and the petals in the front drawn with darker lines. By the way, I'm talking really fast right now because I have a feeling it's going to rain. And this is where I will mention the other advantage of having, a digital sketch pad. If weather changes or if you need to leave suddenly, you can just put the pen back into the phone and just leave. Let's see if I can hold this phone, horizontally. Yeah, I can do so. So how you want to hold your phone is really a personal preference. I feel like this is a portrait view, so I will want to hold it vertically. This phone and pen will make you draw very loose lines because this is a moving surface and it's not easy to draw stiff lines with this phone. In fact, you have to try really hard to be able to draw stiff lines. All your drawings are going to look quite sketchy, in fact, very sketchy. Now, depending on the app you use, you may be able to customize the shortcut. So for this app, I have customized the shortcut to select. So if I make any mistakes, I can just select the lines and delete those lines. So as mentioned earlier, I can hold the pen more vertically to color small areas and tilt the pen to color the broad areas. So this allows me to color accurately and also fast. What I like about this phone is you can use it to draw while you're commuting. So I don't actually like to use my phone too much to surf social media, and when I'm on the train, it can be quite tempting to surf social media with your phone like for the whole trip. But with a phone that you can draw, you can actually make sketches, you can actually draw on the train. And I like to draw commuters on the train because it's quite fun and it's great practice for drawing as well. And if you use more layers, the layers will take up some part of your display, and that will make your canvas drawing area much smaller. Okay, so this is my sketch. See this dragon behind me? This is the perfect example of what you can do with a phone with pen support. If you see something interesting and you want to draw it, you can with this phone. Let's take a look at other sketches that I have drawn on this phone. So this is my relative's place, and this was during Chinese New Year, so there are many Chinese New Year goodies on the table. And I started this sketch here. I actually held the phone vertically while I sketched this, and then I turned the phone sideways so that I can sketch the white scene more easily. So I started here, then moved to the right side. That's the kitchen area, that's my niece, and this is the door area. And we also have some furniture on the left side. So this scene is actually not easy to sketch because this is a very wide scene and there are lots of detail. When you are drawing a specific area, you actually zoom in to that area to draw. So it is not easy to get a sense of the perspective for the whole scene because you are zoomed in to draw. So you may, depending on your preference, you may want to zoom out just to draw or get some drafting lines in first before you start the sketch, because I actually did not find out where the vanishing point are. I just started drawing this area here. So it may be more accurate to find out the vanishing point, where the lines converge, and draft out the composition before you start drawing from one area and expand outwards. But I think this sketch still looks fine. Okay, so let's take a look at another sketch. This was drawn on the train. So as mentioned earlier, I was able to hold the phone, the moving phone, and draw on the train quite effortlessly because I'm quite experienced when it comes to drawing on the moving train. So it's definitely great practice to be sketching people. It's just good practice. It's a better use of time compared to doom scrolling on social media. So I have actually made many train sketches over the years. And when drawing on the train, I'm always holding the phone vertically. So I can draw people from, just keep adding people in the scene. And when I reach my station, I can just easily put the pen back into the phone and just rush out of the train at the last minute. Let's have a look at other sketches. Okay, this one was drawn at the bus stop while waiting for my bus. So all these sketches were drawn with concepts. Yeah, let's take a closer look. So this is very sketchy, and I like the sketchy look and feel of the sketches. And that's my 2-year-old daughter drinking her milk. By the way, the display is reflecting the sky right now, and due to the anti-reflective coating, this is not glaring. Now, if I am to use another phone, which I'm going to show you right now, let me just take out another phone with a glossy screen protector to show you the difference. Okay, so with the reflection on this glossy screen, it's very glaring for my eyes. So being able to actually still see what's on the display obviously is a huge selling point. So the anti-reflective coating is a huge selling point. The last thing I want to say is I have seen reports of people saying the display is fuzzy and the colors are not vibrant enough. From what I can see here, the visuals look really sharp. Now, one thing you have to know is by default, Samsung actually ships the phones with medium resolution. So if you want the maximum native resolution, you will have to go into the settings display to enable maximum resolution. The reason why Samsung ships the phone with medium resolution is because they want you to get longer battery life. But from what I have seen and tested, even if you use maximum resolution, the battery life is still really long. So the battery life for all these phones is really good. As for the vibrance of the display, it looks vibrant enough for me. Now for the S24 Ultra, because there is this anti-reflective coating, the display is going to look darker, relatively speaking, compared to other phones, but the colors, they still look really vibrant to me. And if you're using this indoors, the colors will be very vibrant. I'm actually using the phone with natural setting instead of the extra vibrant setting because natural looks more natural to me. Alright, to conclude, this is a fantastic phone. The main thing that differentiates this phone with flagship phones from other companies is the pen support. So if you are interested to buy this phone, I only have one question for you. Do you need the pen so that you can create and write spontaneously? Alright, I hope this review is useful. If you guys have other questions, let me know in the comment section below. See you guys in the next video. Bye!